As we are live.
Hey.
Good morning, everyone. This is Len Mooney and Lunch with Len on May 5th. And we have with us today an absolutely incredible special guest. And I know you all know about this because we've been advertising and talking about it all week long. I am so excited to have Jeannette Maw with us. And I'm also so excited to have a really nice attendance today. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I know you're going to get incredible value. I know I have already gotten incredible value from this lady and what she has to offer. So I'm just going to hand it right over to her. And also later on today, there'll be a chance for any of you who want to come over and talk live with us. I'll bring you on over. Well, we're going to give Jeannette the floor first and let her go. Jeannette?
Thanks for having me, Len.
I'm excited.
I do a lot of interviews, but I don't do a lot of Google Hangout interviews. So I don't often get to see the people that I'm talking with, and I hope we get to that part pretty soon where I get to see everyone else. But
I can bring as many people over who want to come over, so we'll see who wants to join us live at some point.
Well, that's my favorite kind of party, where we have a lot of interaction. I don't have a preset spiel that I'm going to take everyone through and then I get mad if I get interrupted. I like things really informal and casual. So yeah, thanks again for inviting me to this. And I'm always happy to talk about prey rain journaling and law of attraction. It's been a passion of mine ever since I ran across it. And that was probably, wow, I want to say maybe 1999 or 2000 when, I'll tell a story really quickly about how I got hooked on this stuff. I bought a book by accident at the bookstore. It was called How to Get Everything You Ever Wanted, and by Adrienne Calabrese. And I say I bought it by accident because when I got it home and was reading it, I realized I never would have bought this book had I browsed it at the bookstore. But here's where, let me give a little backstory to what brought me to start reading this book. I was at a point in my life where I was very unhappy in my work. I was in a dead-end relationship. My health was deteriorating rapidly from all of that. The only joy that I had in life was the fostering that I did for cats and dogs with the local animal rescue groups. So that literally was, I was hanging by a thread. That was the only good thing I had going on in my life. And one day I was out in the backyard and I was scooping poop after the dogs. It was August in Utah. It's hot here. We're in the desert. And the poop wouldn't scoop. And I realized it's because my lawn was dead. Like, it was dirt. I hardly had any grass left. So I was just rolling along instead of scooping. And that was my breaking point. I like to think my one and only nervous breakdown where I threw the bag of poop in one direction, the pooper scooper in another. One landed on the garage roof. The other landed in the neighbor's bushes. And I went to bed. I was done with life, done with the capital D. I just decided if nothing good was going to happen, I wasn't even going to bother doing it anymore. So I go to bed I ended up being there for 4 days, but I was bored in bed and I started reading that book that I bought by accident, How to Get Everything You Ever Wanted. So I'm reading the book and I figured this author's crazy. She's asking me to do things I would never do, like set up a sacred space and burn incense and this, that, and the other. And the only reason I read it, like I said, is because I was literally doing nothing else. But I finished the book and I had a personal rule for myself where I did at least one thing from every self-help book that I read, because I read a lot of them. So I had a rule that I would do at least one thing from every book. And the least crazy thing I could find in Adrienne's book was something she called scripting, where you talk about what you want as if it's already happened. So I came out of the bedroom and I said to my boyfriend, isn't it great how, oh, I forgot to tell you, I had, oh my gosh, I hadn't had a dog adoption in like the last 3 months. I'd had absolutely no dogs getting out. I had 8 big dogs in my little 850 square foot house. So I told myself that the thing I was going to practice this scripting on was...
Okay, I think you dropped on the solution. Okay.
The thing that I was going to practice the scripting on was getting one of the dogs adopted. So I did that. I talked with my boyfriend about how wonderful it was that Jeff got adopted by that wonderful family, the husband and the wife with the 2 kids, and they've got the other dog for him to play with, and they live nearby, so we could visit him whenever we want, and they have plenty of money, so they could take care of whatever his medical needs might be. And I'm totally just making all of that up on the fly, but that's how scripting is, speaking about what you want as if it's already done. So that was Thursday night. And I only did it. I was as skeptical as they come. I knew I was wasting my time, but I only did it because I had that rule for myself. So it was Thursday night. I went back to bed. And Saturday morning, my boyfriend, he took all the dogs to the same adoption fair they'd been going to for the past 3 months. And within an hour, we got a phone call from the woman running it saying, you got to get down here right now. There's 2 families fighting over Jeff, and I don't know who to give him to. And this dog had been at this same adoption fair for weekend after weekend after weekend with no one even giving him a second look. And in the rescue community, we all know, okay, you have to get like a dozen applications before you even get one worth considering, because they reject you for anything. If for a bazillion reasons you can get rejected. And here she was saying she had 2 that were so good she couldn't pick. They were fighting over it. So I drove down there with them to go check it out, and sure enough, that's exactly what was happening. 2 amazing people who both wanted this dog. So not only did Jeff get adopted that day, Oakley got adopted the next day, and on Tuesday night, a rescue group took 2 of my black labs off my hands, so I was down 4 dogs in 4 days, and I'm telling you, it felt like a miracle. But it was when Jeff got adopted. I walked out after I read the paperwork going, oh my word, she's right, they're perfect. I handed the paperwork back. I went out to the parking lot and I said, well, I didn't say anything. I was speechless. I was dumbfounded. I realized that woman might not have been as crazy as I thought she was. From that moment on, I read everything I could get my hands on about what I came to learn it as law of attraction. I don't think Adrienne used that word in her book, but that's where the power comes from. Learning to manage our vibration and focus on what we want in order to manifest it. So that's how I got hooked on this party. Did I tell that story too fast, Len?
No, that's awesome. So tell us about Pray Rain journaling. How did you?
Yeah.
Where did Pray Rain come from?
Okay, that's a term. I didn't make that one up. That one is from Greg Braden. He tells a story about how, and I learned Pray Rain journaling. I didn't make that up. I wrote the book on it, but that's because when Oprah flew me out to be on her show to talk about it, she had a Law of Attraction special, and she'd invited me out to talk about Pray Rain journaling, which no one had ever heard of. And after I flew back home, someone in the limo on the way back had said, well, where can I learn more about it? And I said, I know, there needs to be more about it. Someone should write a book. And then on the airplane home, I realized I should write that book. So even though I wrote the book, I didn't make this up. The term comes from Greg Braden when he was, this was, I want to say, in New Mexico in the 90s. They'd had like, or maybe it was the 70s, I don't know. They'd had a long drought, like a 5-year-long drought. And he had a Native American friend who invited him to go to watch a rain dance. Greg had never been to one before, so he said he'd be happy to go. So he drives out with his friend to the middle of nowhere. They park the truck and they walk further out to the middle of nowhere until they get to a sacred circle of stones. And his friend takes his shoes off and he stands inside the circle and he closes his eyes and he's silent for a minute. And then he starts out by repeating, all my ancestors are with me now. He repeats that 3 times and then he's silent for a minute or 2. Then he opens his eyes and he puts his shoes back on and he tells Greg, okay, I'm done, we're ready to go. And Greg can't believe it. He's like, wait, I thought this was going to be a rain dance. I thought there was going to be costumes and singing and chanting and dancing. And his friend laughed at him because he said, when I pray for rain, I don't ask for rain. I'm not praying for rain. I'm praying rain. The difference being that when we ask for something that we don't have, we're reinforcing not having it. When we ask for it as if we've already received it, that's how we receive it. So the process of praying rain, what he was doing while he was inside the sacred circle, he was smelling the rain in the air. He was feeling it collect underneath his toes. He was tasting it on his tongue. He was imagining all the shoulder-high corn that had grown from the rain brushing against him. And they went home that night, and it not only rained, it flooded. Greg tells a story about how the weatherman that night, there was this jet stream moving across the country, and once it got above New Mexico, it took a dip down, and then it went back up to continue its way. Greg said he'll never forget the weatherman looking at that going, huh. But Native Americans are known for playing with the weather, so that's not an unusual story. But what was unusual to me was this idea that because a lot of people, when they say their prayers, they're asking for something, not realizing that what we're vibrating is lack. We're vibrating absence. We're vibrating wanting. and we get whatever we vibrate. So if I ask for something as if I don't have it, that's what we're going to get more of. So in order for us to get what we want, just like I was scripting, when I was scripting how wonderful it was that Jeff got adopted, I was finding the vibration of what I wanted before it was my reality. So Pray Rain journaling is simply the process of writing down what you want as if you already have it. You write down a page a day until you get to the end of your journal. By then, you'll either have it or it'll be so close you can reach out and touch it. So that's how I had learned it. And when I mentioned that to one of the coaches that I worked with, I learned it from a local channeler here in Salt Lake City, but someone told me that's actually an Abraham process. I've never heard Abraham share that, but someone told me that's it came from Abraham, not from Greg Braden, not from anyone else. So I don't actually know where it originated. I've never actually seen it in Abraham's material before, but regardless of where it came from, here's what happened when I started practicing it. The first time I used it, I still had a job. I was in corporate world, and I'd just been in a staff meeting where they basically said, all of you salespeople are going to be out of jobs if you don't turn your numbers around fast. So I'd been on the job only for 4 months, and nothing was going right. Nothing was going according to plan, and I understood why we were in dire straits. So I got back to my desk, and I thought, all right, well, what they've been having us do hasn't been working. They've been having us, cold calling and reading scripts and trying to set up meetings. None of that had been working. So I thought, what do I want to do? And I thought of Pray Rain journaling. Never had done it before. So I had a little book. It was like a little 2 inches by 3 inches notebook, like 88 cents from Office Max. And I turned to the first page and I wrote down what I wanted as if I already had it. And I said something like this: isn't it great how prospects find me? Isn't it great what perfect rapport we have, and how this product is perfect for their company, and how they can't wait for me to implement it? And it was just like maybe 5 or 6 sentences on that little page. It only took a couple minutes to write it out. But after I did that, and I closed my book, and then I asked myself, okay, what sounds good next? And the answer that I got, intuition or guidance, whatever you want to call it, said go to lunch. I hadn't been to a proper lunch since my first day on the job. So I've been eating out of the vending machine because we're under so much pressure to try to make something happen. So I left the building, which was a big treat. I left the building. I went to my favorite restaurant across the street. It was a gorgeous spring day. I sat outside, had my favorite lunch, and I kicked my feet up on an extra chair, and I really goofed off. And after an hour and a half of that, I asked myself, okay, what sounds good next? And the answer that I got was, it surprised me, but go back to work. So I did. I went back to work, and on my way, in the elevator, a guy in the elevator asked me who I was. I told him. He said, oh, my word. He said, well, when I told him my name, he said, what do you do? And I said, I sell small business 401k plans. And he said, I didn't know the bank sold small business 401k plans. I said, we do. I'm thinking this guy works at the bank because the whole building was bank people, so I'm figuring it's just an upper manager who didn't know about this product. Anyway, he says, you got to follow me to my office. I follow him. Turns out he doesn't work for the bank. He's the property manager. They've got office space in the bank. So they're the only non-bank employees in the place. And he shows me his desk, and it is covered with sales literature from 401k vendors. And he says to me, I haven't been able to make heads or tails of this in weeks. Can you help me? So I had my satchel with me, and I had my information for my product, and I had a great conversation with him, telling him everything he needed to know about. And here's all my competition laid out here. So I told him just the ins and outs of the whole system, and had a great conversation with him. Then after about 15 minutes, he stood up, and I thought, oh, my fun's over now. I got to go back to work. But instead of walking me back to the elevator, he walks me down the hall to his HR director, and he says, Shelley, meet Jeanette. Jeanette, meet Shelley. And he says, Shelley, Jeanette's going to be implementing our 401k plan. Sign whatever she needs you to sign. And he turns to me and he says, how soon can you have that to us? That was unheard of. In training, they taught us, best case scenario, it's a 6-week process to make a sale, to identify a target, set up a meeting, create a proposal, present the proposal, overcome objections, drop a, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here it just happened in like 20 minutes. So that was my first experience with Pray Rain journaling. I soon became the top salesperson. My managers asked me to share what I was doing with people. And you know what I was doing? I was doing what felt good. I was focusing my attention on what I wanted through the journal, writing about what I wanted as if I already had it, and then doing what felt good, which was I came in late, I took long lunches, I left early, but I was selling plans left and right because when we shift the vibration, then what happens in our world changes. So as before, where I couldn't find anyone to talk about a 401k plan to save my life, now they were coming out of the woodwork to talk with me, and everyone loved it. We really did have a great product. So it wasn't long after that that I decided, instead of doing this for the bank, I think I'm going to do it for my own self, doing something that I love. And my passion was sharing about law of attraction with anyone who would listen. So that's Pray Rain journaling in a nutshell. The reason it's so powerful, and there are a lot of ways for us to do this. Pray Rain journaling is just a technique for us to harness our attention on what we want, so that we're focusing on what we want to experience rather than what we don't want. A lot of people don't know how to do that because we're so naturally attuned to what's going wrong, or what we're worried about, what happened before that we don't want to repeat of, or what might go wrong. So whenever we're focused on that, that's what we're attracting into our world. And the process of journaling helps us redirect our attention so that we're allowing something good to happen. So I put together a lot of journals over the years. By the time Oprah's producer called and asked me to come out, she asked me to bring my journals with me. I had an entire suitcase full of completed journals. It was very heavy.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And hey, let me, Bob, I put a link up in the chat if you want to come in through the Google Hangout rather than me bringing you across, and see if you can stay over here that way. He knows what I'm talking about. And anyone else who wants to come over, come on over. So you've got sort of a specific set of instructions now for how somebody goes about Pray Rain journaling. And I've got to tell you, I'm gonna add to this. I started a Pray Rain journal, I'm going to say probably about a month ago now, maybe 3 weeks, and I've missed a couple of days, so shame on me, but that's all right. I have a good excuse. But it's been working. I can feel the shift in the energy around me and things going on, so I really become a believer.
Well, I want to say something about that, because the way I learned it was a page a day, every day, until you get to the end of the book. And I practiced it that way, like, religiously. I didn't miss a day, or if I did, I felt really bad about it. But since then, my approach to it is a little different, because what I've come to understand is that it isn't that you got to follow the rules. What you got to do is find a way to train your focus on what you want and do what feels good. And what feels best to me isn't always a journal entry every morning or every night, because sometimes after like 2 weeks it'll start to feel like homework, like, oh my god, this again. Okay, anything that I'm engaging with that energy probably isn't going to take me anywhere good. I love Abraham's quote, unhappy journeys don't have happy endings. So the point of journaling is to help us get into those positive feelings, like, isn't it great how prospects find me, how excited they are to hear about the product, what great rapport we have, perfect fit. That's the if I enjoy that process, that's the power of it. But if I'm doing it out of this better work, it's better, I wonder how long this is going to take, okay, those are not the vibrations they're going to serve. And I've noticed for myself personally, it works better if I do it for maybe 5 or 6 days in a row, and then take a break from it and use something else, because I personally do well with a lot of variety. So I'll use Pray Rain journaling to get a good groove going, but then I'll use visualization or scripting. I'll speak it out loud, or some of my other favorite tools, because if I use any one tool too much, I burn out on it. It's like listening to your favorite song too many times.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't feel bad about that, because I got to tell you, this weekend I was out in the Colorado River water skiing, and so Saturday morning I didn't feel like I needed to get up and put on my get my Pray Rain journal a lot. I felt like I needed to put my ski on and go jump in the river. So I was in the space that I want to be in. I was in the space that I would have written about if I'd been home writing about.
Yeah, you're already living a dream come true. Yeah, we don't have to.
You know, the other thing that this reminds me a lot of is in Susan Sher Young's book. She talked a lot about the tune-up process, and one of the pieces of the tune-up process, step 3, is putting yourself in the state that you want to be in.
Yes.
Step 1 was making peace with where you are, so that you're not focused on the lack. Yep. And I actually forget what step 2 was, but step 3 was talking about as if you're there, where you want to be, put yourself in that state. And I think it's quite similar. It seemed to me an extension.
Well, You know what? You're making me remember Lady Gaga, how she used to walk down the street when she was still unknown, unheard of. She would walk down the street as if she were already famous. Like, she's done several interviews where she talked about how she acted as if she already were who she wanted to be. And there's tremendous power in that, because whatever we're vibrating is what we're attracting. So when I quit my job and I was starting my own coaching practice, I knew that the only way for me to get clients was to practice the feeling of having clients, which I'd never had before, because this is the first time I was doing it, so I had to rely on imagination for it. But I did a lot of journaling, I did a lot of visualizing, I used a lot of affirmations, I did a lot of acting as if. When someone would call, a friend would call and say, hey, can you go to lunch? And yeah, I could go to lunch because I got absolutely nothing to do, no one is booked. But I wouldn't say that. I'd say, I don't know, let me check my schedule and get back to you, as if I were a busy coach when I wasn't yet. But just finding a way to tune into that vibration, however we do it, that's where the power lies. And prayer journaling is, Abraham has talked about how the writing gives us our most powerful point of focus. So I can see why so many people enjoy and have success with the process of prayer journaling.
Well, I like the discipline of it personally. The idea that most mornings I've been picking up my journal and writing in it. So it's really.
You know what? Along those lines, some people report that to me. Some people tell me that they have the exact opposite experience I do. You know how, like, I get burned out if I do it too often? Other people tell me the longer they do it, the more powerful it becomes. And I've heard that with meditation, too. It's like conditioning. You know, when you do something regularly, in the same way when you approach it with discipline, it becomes more powerful over time. So cool to hear that from you.
Let me see if I can get a couple people. Hey, Jackson, come on over and talk to us, buddy. You're always a lot of fun to have around. I got lots of people out there. Who else wants to come across? Come on, tell me in the chat. I don't want to jerk you over here if you don't want to be. Chris, what do you have to say for yourself today?
Chris has got a comment on my wealth plant. Thank you, Chris. I got a couple of those in different rooms. I'm a big fan of plants. In fact, I went to Maui last month, and my mom house sat for me, and she trimmed all my plants while I was gone. It's like, oh, Mom, I loved them when they were big and out of control. But she's a big fan of keeping them under control.
I'm eating, or I would talk more.
Are we having tacos for lunch today?
No, it was Subway today.
Well, you can quit eating and talk now.
Well, I've got lunch coming up after this, so my stomach's growling to hear that, even though it's the Subway sandwich. I'm hungry.
Well, I think it's a fabulous technique. So in order to start the discipline, what you would tell people to do is go out and buy yourself a notebook.
Get a new journal. You might have one. A lot of people might find one that's got like a couple pages written from 3 years ago.
There he is. Bobby's back.
What's that? Oh,
Bobby's back.
And other people love the excuse to go buy a new one. I'm a big journaler, so. But you know what? I will say, Len, the difference between regular journaling versus prayer journaling. Think about it. When I'm just writing up, what I experienced during the day and what my thoughts and feelings were, I'm in the vibration of what I already did, so I'm attracting more of the same. What prayer journaling allows us to do is get into a new vibration and attract new realities. So, yeah.
It's definitely, there's no question it's helping me. I've become a strong proponent, advocate of prayer journaling. I love it. And it helps. The discipline actually helps me, because I tend to be somewhat undisciplined and scattered. I'm off in a bazillion different directions.
You're not alone, Len. A lot of people have that experience where they learn about law of attraction and conscious creation. They get really excited about it, but it's like it's in one ear and out the other. And they're just doing their old habits and old routines, not engaging the power that we have to create whatever we want based on what we're focused on. So I think there's something to being able to find a way to get habitual about harnessing that power. And certainly the rules, as I learned it, a page a day about what you want, as if you've already had it, until by the time you get to the end of the book, you will have it. And I got it on the first page. But I have had journals I had to do twice before it started happening. But I know it's all a measure of my level of resistance, you know, how much I believe in it or disbelieve in it. So.
Well, I got to tell you, I really love the concept, and I'm going to turn this over now to the other people, but I'm going to make a final comment, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, I woke up this morning in Africa, and we are flying drones, and we're using the drones to spot where the elephants are so that we can also track the poachers and catch them.
Oh, wow.
Before the elephants are extinct. And I am having such an incredible time because I am a commercial pilot, and I'm training rangers on how to control the drones and find the elephants and find the poachers, and it's such an incredible experience. And I can feel it, I can taste it, I can smell it, I can see it, and I'm putting myself in, and that's one of the states that I put myself in. So I'm going to turn it over. Jackson, Michael, Bob, what do you have to say? Anybody else wants to come over? Let me know. We're going to let it run over today. I don't think. No, your stomach's growling, Jeannette. Okay, we can go a little longer.
I could go longer. I've still got goosebumps from hearing about what you were playing with this morning. That's beautiful, Len. Thanks.
I love chatting with you. So who's got something to say? Michael?
Sure. Hello, Jeannette.
Hey, Michael. How you doing?
Life is good. I hadn't realized it until I heard you share today, but I use this technique in my blog. My blog was never really about what I wanted to share with the world. It's more about therapy for Michael and creatively putting down for the public to see what I want to happen. It doesn't always work. Some of the things I ask for are really big changes, and those seem to take longer.
They do, don't they? Yeah. Wow, I love how intuitive, though, it was for you to be engaging this practice, that you hadn't even learned it from anyone else and you're already doing it.
I learned some things from other people. I've never heard it phrased this way and presented this way. It's sort of like the experiences build as you learn different pieces from other people, and you go, oh, okay, that's what this is. That's what's going on.
You know, and that's a good point. I mean, let's think about what kids do, right? When they're daydreaming in school or whenever they are, when they're living out their play lives, they're doing exactly that. And so I think it is really natural for us to do that, or at least it was when we were younger, before we got trained to be realistic and practical and, you know, make it happen by rolling up our sleeves and paying our dues, et cetera, et cetera. But our true power lies in how we're focusing.
Somewhere during the journey, we all came to be told or believe that getting things we wanted was hard work because somebody had a heavy investment in us working hard for them.
I'm afraid you're right, my friend. I'm afraid you're right. But here's to the liberation that it doesn't have to be hard. It can be easy. It can be fun. It works better when it is.
Yeah, and the hard part for some of us is separating the I accepting it is from what I always had experienced previously.
You know, that's a good point, because it's one thing to understand this, like, theoretically or intellectually, but another to be, in fact, one of the books I want to write next is on being able to receive something, because a lot of people feel uncomfortable getting something for quote-unquote nothing. Like, even if someone does a favor, how quick people are to want to return it, you know, to keep things equal. Like, we're so conditioned that we have to pay for something or earn it in some form or fashion, that to be able to truly just receive something for nothing, not everyone's good at that. It can take a little practice before we get in that groove.
Absolutely.
So is that blog still published?
Oh yeah, I plug away at it 3 or 4 times a week. I've managed to put up 200 videos on YouTube, which has actually turned out to be better therapy because I have challenges with grammar and spelling, as Kristen will note numerous times for me. And I love her for that, because I'm glad somebody's telling me it didn't make sense. Otherwise, nobody would ever know what I was talking about.
Well, that's someone who's made for video, yeah, when we don't have to worry about what we're writing. I know some people who struggle with getting their message across in writing form. Video is a fabulous answer for that, but cool to use your skills however you feel inspired. I mean, we know that's where the good stuff comes from, whatever feels good. Just like accepting Len's invitation to be here today, good things come from having a good time.
I met Len and Chris on a training program 6 months ago, and it's basically taken me this long to implement about 10% of what I knew, because it was all so new to me, because I didn't come to this place from a traditional business path. I used what I do to restore my health, and it was my journey back to health. And then when I got there, I had the epiphany that I needed to share it with other people, because it was in what I'd learned that could help other people facing the same things.
Wow, Michael, I'd be really curious to learn more about that because I'm just getting ready to start a course on helping people with manifesting things with their physical body. That's for a lot of people the most challenging one because, you know, whenever there's a reality that we don't want, like say we don't like our job or we're not in a great relationship or we don't have a lot of money, you can sometimes distract yourself by focusing on other things that are easy to enjoy, but we're always in our body. So if we're experiencing any physical pain or discomfort, that's hard to get your attention off of. I don't know that I want to reinforce how hard that can be because I like it when things are easy, but I know a lot of people tell me they can use this stuff in a wide variety of areas with great success, but when it comes to changing things with their physical body, that's the hardest frontier for them. So congratulations.
In a small picture, but there's a guy behind me standing in the background there.
Yeah?
That's Fat Mikey at 280 pounds.
Wow. How long ago?
That was 5 years ago.
Wow. Congratulations. That's impressive.
Jeannette, when does this course start? I need to fix my left hip.
You know,
I'm in, baby. Count me in.
I'm glad to hear that. I haven't picked a date yet. I don't even know how long it's going to be yet. I'm still putting it together. I just launched a home study course yesterday for business owners. So that's getting that out yesterday is what allows me to go play with my next thing. So it's called Body Love Lab. I have taught this course once before, and I've got those recordings at Good Vibe University. But I want to do a new one with a new focus because I've had new successes with this myself. So.
Oh.
I'll tell you one thing, Jeannette. If we could bottle your energy and sell it, we'd all be rich.
I think this is a natural consequence of doing what we love. I think, oh, Lynn, there's my phone. I knew that was maybe going to happen.
It's okay. It's okay. Our dog was laying on her phone, so we decided to leave the sleeping dog lie.
Sometimes they like to howl when caller ID is announcing someone's name, so hopefully they won't do that now. But, oh, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, we all have this energy when we do what we love. I think it's pretty natural for us. So many are conditioned to think that life is not supposed to be this way. I believe Abraham when they say life was meant to be fun. I get it.
Yeah. Jackson, you got anything you want to add? You've always got something to say.
Well, and thanks. Are you doing okay? Did you say is that a skiing accident? Is that what happened?
Me?
Yeah, with the hip.
Oh no. I've been bone on bone for 2 years now. I've been putting off surgery as long as I possibly can.
I see. Hey, I'm sorry. I apologize to Jeannette. Jeannette, my grandmother's name is Jeannette, and she was just a darling of an individual. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry I kind of came in a little late, Lynn, so I don't have a lot. I did pick up on something. I was on the Millionaire Road Show today. It's a national radio show, and I just things have been going crazy today, so I'm sorry. I really wanted to be here on time, Jeannette, but I love what you said. Good things come to those who have a good time, because that was kind of the theme today, is that I was talking about the number one thing. We were talking about, progressing as an entrepreneur and the tools and stuff, and the number one thing that I said today is you got to do something you love, and it certainly looks like you're doing that.
Oh my gosh, that's actually one of the requirements for the product that I launched yesterday, Perfect Client Creator. I told people that one of the requirements for being in it is that you have to love what you do, otherwise this isn't going to work. Because if you're trying to create success with something that you hate, that's a tough road. It is so much easier to succeed with something that you're having a good time with. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I've got a magnet on my refrigerator that says, I was having fun and money just came pouring in.
Yeah, well, it's very congruent across the board with successful people. The thing I'll mention this to you, Lynn, and your guest. It's always also about keeping yourself open, to the universe and to learning. Because I had a man that taught me a lot when I was a young kid. A lot of what I began my sales and what evolved into my marketing career. And he said, never fall in love with a deal. and it served me well, because as an entrepreneur, you know, we can get our hearts broke because that thing that we put everything in, and then boom. And you know, if I would have just kept that, I would have missed something really big in life, and that is the part of doing what you love. Somehow I'm slow, but it all began to click when I realized you don't fall in love with a deal, you just fall in love with what you do. And if you fall in love with what you do, then, you know, deal after deal, it's just your growth and you're transforming. But do what you love, and never stop learning, because, man, you close your brain off to new ideas, you become well, you're dead. If you're not growing, just like a business, if a business isn't growing, it's dead. And if you're not growing, well, you might as well be.
Agreed. Well said.
Well, you are. I mean, by definition, you stagnate, you eutrophy, you're done. I agree. Wow, that was powerful.
I agree. You got a lot of wisdom in this circle, Len. I like your people.
Everybody went quiet. Look at the cat. Who's that? We got a kitty cat behind you. Whoops, Jeannette just froze.
Oh, you're not talking about me, because I was going to grab my gun. I'm just kidding. But it would have to be a ghost cat or something.
I got a cat on my lap too, so I haven't been able to move too much because she's.
Oh, okay.
That's another thing I love. I love animals. I mean, I was fostering them from my very early days to help me survive the life that I didn't love, and that's definitely continued. I've got 3 dogs sleeping here on the floor, and I've got 8 cats in this house. So I got a lot of animal love here.
Cool.
Oh, what a cutie pie! Oh my gosh, who is that, Jack?
That's Effie.
Oh my gosh, how darling! She looks a little shy.
She, you know, she's not shy. She's just very picky.
Oh, she's just
she probably would have rather me give her an invite, a proper invitation. You know, she doesn't like these quick cam performances.
And here's Buttons.
Oh my gosh, you guys, how cute! I wish we were in person. I want to kiss all these puppies.
Wow.
She's looking at you.
What a cutie pie.
Jeannette, you're really an incredible person. Love your energy.
I'm wishing I had a dog that was small enough I could put on my lap, but mine won't accommodate.
I'll bet if you sat here and patted your lap, they'd come up.
Yeah, I do kind of like it when they sleep.
So tell people where they can learn more. Now, I put up a link to your site, prairierainjournal.com,
Well,
and I'm also going to redirect, just so everybody knows at the end here, when we close out, I'm going to redirect everybody to Jennifer's site, or sorry, Jeanette's site.
I want to say, yeah, there is an ebook on it, but you do not have to buy it in order to start practicing it. Like I said, a page a day about what you want, as if it's already happened, until you get to the end of your book. So it's a very simple process. Other resources that might be helpful, I do have a free LOA ebook. I call it LOA for the Real World. And it's got an autoresponder that has, I get more rave reviews from the messages that go out on the 7 tips than I do on the ebook itself. So that's a helpful resource. And I write a lot on law of attraction, conscious creation, using our manifesting skills over at goodvibeblog.com. So those are good resources. If anyone's looking to join a community of fellow creators, I've got Good Vibe University, where we're doing exactly that. We meet by phone, we meet in the forums. I've got a ton of courses that I've taught in the past that are posted there, so it's definitely the LOA party headquarters.
You said that was goodvibeblog.com?
Yeah, goodvibeblog.com is where I'm writing, and Good Vibe University if anyone wants to find some like-minded people to hang out with.
Okay, goodvibeblog.com. I put it up incorrectly. Goodvibeblog.com. Okay? And also prairierainjournal.com, right?
Yeah. If anyone has any questions about it, I'm happy to entertain emails. Well, you'll find my email address all over the blog, but I'd love to hear from you guys if you have any questions about it.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anybody have anything they want to add here today before we let this lovely lady off the hook. I wonder what.
Let her go eat.
I'm worried about our friend Bob. Bouncing Bob is gone. I guess he's bounced out completely. There's nothing I can do for him. All righty.
I sure enjoyed meeting you all. It was so fun to see the videos. That was super fun, Lynn. Thanks for inviting me to this party.
Well, it sounds to me like we're going to probably want to invite you back sometime in the.
Anytime.
It's been really great. I really enjoyed it. I am going to hit a redirect button here in just a few moments and send everybody out to PrayRainJournal.com. How much is your ebook? The whole thing?
Well, the ebook for Pray Rain Journaling, I think it's 27, and I've got some that are 17. I've got one that's 47. You can buy the whole library for 97. If anyone wants a complimentary copy, email me. I'll be happy to send you one.
There you have it. That's super. That is awesome.
Now,
I just got a message.
Should we specify black or with cream or sugar? And do you actually get it here hot?
Jackson,
I'm sensing that's not going to happen.
Jackson, you're always great. Love to have you around, buddy. Love to have you.
Too, Len. Love being here, man.
Jackson
love
does
your
a Friday night the webinar called Friday Night Live. I don't know if that was supposed to be a takeoff on Saturday Night Live or not. But at any rate, I bought. I'm going to just tell you, I bought the ebook. It was awesome. It was certainly worthwhile. Certainly worth every penny I spent on it. Love to support this lady in her work. She's doing an incredible job, and she's just welcome to our community, Jeannette. It's so glad to have bumped into you. And I will give all the credit to Susan Shearer-Young, because if it wasn't for her book, I wouldn't have known about you.
Speaking of Susan, you guys, anyone who is immersed in the world of law of attraction, vote for your favorite LOA leaders. Susan has been our winner before, and I'm not in the running. I do help organize it, but at loaleaders.com, if you want to send some love Susan's way, shoot an email to, there's an email there to place your vote that will put her in the running for becoming a winner for 2015 as well. The votes get tallied at the end of the month.
LOAleaders.com.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, there it is, LOAleaders.com. It's up. Can you see the chat, Jeannette?
I can, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that's correct, LOAleaders.com.
Yep.
Okay, so great.
We'll appreciate it.
Go out there and vote for Susan. And all right, anybody else have any?
Really appreciate you coming.
Pardon me?
I just told Jeannette we really appreciate her coming, and it was a pleasure to talk with her.
It was
Thank you so much.
absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. All right. Anybody else? Going once.
Thank you.
Going twice.
Thanks, Michael. Bye, Jack. Bye, Chris.
All right.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
Bye, everyone.
Here's the redirect. The redirect is coming at you. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. You're about to be redirected. Bye for now.
Bye, Len.
So the people that are in here, all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.